So I bought this 1995 CR125, and to say that it's in a rough condition would be an understatement. The plastics are ugly, so is the fuel tank. The engine is leaking oil from the gear case, and it's sealed with red silicone. The frame is scratched with rust already sitting in some spots. But there are three good things about this bike. First, it runs, second, it's a two-stroke, and third, it's a Honda. So riding season is almost over and winter is coming soon. So I decided to do what every reasonable man does in my position. Strip it to the frame and rebuild the whole bike. So my lack of experience with bikes will be a big setback, but my willpower to learn and my passion for repairing and building will give me a huge advantage. And I have come prepared. I have all of the service manuals at my disposal, tools, and I even built a bigger table to store all of the parts. So to begin this build, I've started removing everything from the bike. But I did it carefully and organized. This will save me a lot of time later on. And just look at all of these screws, hex, Torx, Phillips, you name it. Everything is fastened with random screws. You can tell that the bike was neglected. And of course I encountered stripped screws, which is of course a time-consuming process. A very time-consuming process. After the seat and most of the plastics were out, I unhooked the fuel hose going to the carb, removed the fuel tank and drained all of the petrol. Up next I removed the carburetor along with the spring and the slider by disconnecting the throttle cable. For now plug the intake so that we don't get any crap in there. Then I drained the coolant and got to work. A few screws here and there and the radiator was also out. The radiator looks super beat up and all of the coolant lines are old, so I think I'll just get a new one. While removing the subframe, the whole silencer came out since the exhaust header was missing a screw and the rubber joint is just a coolant line fastened with two clamps. Yeah, a coolant line. And here's our beautiful exhaust manifold. Just kidding, it's absolutely awful. All beat up and welded, and I'm pretty sure there is something wrong with the fastening of it. The original fastener on the frame has no thread left. No problem, we'll fix that. After removing the exhaust, I decided to remove the stator cover to release the clutch cable. And now I know why the guys that sold me the bike love red silicone so much. There are holes in the crankcase. After disconnecting the clutch cable, I put back the cover for now. Next I removed all of the electricals, CDI, ignition coil, engine hour meter. Soon I'll be able to remove the whole engine. Now the only thing standing in our way to remove the engine was the brake pedal and the drive chain, which was easily removed. Now some may say that 125s are kids' bikes, but this here small two-stroke has a lot of kick to it. We're going to be saving as much of these bikes as we can. Few bolts here and there and gentle taps with the hammer and this puppy was out in no time. We're going to put a lot of work into this engine, but it will be all worth it in the end. Looking at the frame, I understand the long road ahead, but I'm positive that this bike will live. Now it's time to start working on the swing arm, but first I gotta remove the back wheel. Removing the back wheel was quite interesting, as the axle was stuck and the brake caliper had some random welds on it. The rear axle pivot bolt threads are damaged, we'll see if we can fix them or not. Up next I removed the whole rear brake assembly and removed the shock, which was super easy actually. Finally, after a lot of back and forth, the swing arm was out. Same as everything else, the swing arm on this bike was in a pretty rough shape. Now for the front of the bike. At first I removed the handlebars and the front wheel. Just look at it, 90% disassembled, looking good. Up here I had no idea what I was doing and I just couldn't get into a comfortable pulling position. But all that matters is that the forks were removed. After that I removed the top bridge, and the funny thing is the nut which holds the steering stem was completely loose, but in my case that's a good thing, because I didn't have the special socket needed to unfasten it. And the bearings on the steering stem have definitely seen better days. Up next I removed the outer races for the bearings on the steering stem, and all that was left were the foot pegs. So I gave the frame and both the subframe a quick power wash to get rid of all of that crap that has been stuck to it for looks like years. So at this point I was already seeing progress, the bike was disassembled, the frame was clean, so life's good. So you can see that the frame is pretty beaten up, so it definitely needs a repaint, but before we do that we have to fix some of the threads and fastenings. Well, lucky for me I did some welding here and there, so we'll try to weld it as best as we can. So up here you can see that the fastening gear is a bit bent, so we're gonna try to fix it and hopefully not break anything. So I started by heating up the ear with a torch so that it loosens the metal a bit. After that I just used my screwdriver and some pliers. Just look at that, much better now. So up here the problem is a bit trickier. The thread is completely gone, so I'll have to cut it up and weld a new face with a nut. So there are quite a few threads that are damaged like this, so we have a lot to take care of, but we'll get it one by one. So up here with my trusty Dremel tool I cut out the face of the ear, and why I cut only the face is because it makes the alignment so much more easier. So I've measured everything and started cutting a new piece of that ear face from some scrap metal laying around. So I used approximately the same thickness, that is 2 mm, so that it fits easily. So as you can see, it's quite a time-consuming process to get everything right, and I still managed to not get it right the first 2 times, so I actually had to redo this first ear 3 times. Yes, 3 times. So I have nearly forgotten how to weld, as I have done it quite a long time ago, but I think in the end it was actually pretty okay. So on the second ear it was quite easier, as my old man actually gave me such a good tip. Leave the material a bit longer than you have to, then welding becomes so much more easier. And when you're finished welding, you just cut off the excess material and that's it, you're solid. And of course you have to sand it and grind it. It's just a normal part of the process to make it look like somewhat decent. Of course this is not a factory look, but it gets the job done and it's not so bad. Also I welded off some small holes where the hour meter was. Well, those were not OEM, and just like that the frame was fixed. So we fixed the thread in 3 places and also welded off some holes. So super happy with the results so far. So on to the subframe. Up here we have the same problem, no thread and also a randomly drilled hole nearby. So we shall fix all of that. So on the subframe I wanted to test a different technique. Basically what I wanted to do was just weld off the hole, make a new one and rethread it. But unfortunately it didn't work, because I couldn't perfectly weld it off. There were cracks inside, so there was no point in rethreading it. So I just used the old method. So I just cut off the face of the ear and welded a new one with a nut. Also, a few threads on the subframe needed to be repaired with a tap. They were still savable, so the tap was the perfect choice. Just like that, both the frame and the subframe were ready for degreasing and sanding. So guys, I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of this rebuild series. So I enjoyed making this video so much, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it. So in the next episode, we'll be painting this frame, and I promise you it will be a cool color. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the new format. Also, please, if you enjoy watching these videos, subscribe to my channel, and also there's a buy me a coffee link down below. Every small donation helps me so much. Okay guys, see you next time. Bye.